Cheating wife gets caught with her boss after 2 years of infidelity. So. I just caught my wife of 14 years, together 17 years, cheating on me with her district manager of Aramark Refreshments for about 2 years now. Before I get into details, there is a backstory to all of this. I want you all to get a full picture and decide if she was entitled to cheat or did I just pay off a debt I owed. In 2012 I took my wife to get her tonsils removed at the hospital. They gave me her belongings as she couldn't take them inside surgery room. Her phone kept buzzing. I took it upon myself to see who was blowing her up and I read tons of inappropriate emails with another man at work. She was reading 50 Shades of Grey at the time and was referring to the man as her Christian Grey, something she would call me. I was pissed and wanted answers, but unfortunately, she couldn't talk after surgery so on the drive home I handed her a piece of paper with a pen to answer all the questions I had and she wrote, it was nothing but flirting. I grabbed my 2-year-old and briefcase of clothes and went from California to Arizona on a mini weekend getaway with my support team, my best friend and his wife, to stay away from her for a while. Once back she informed me that she deleted her email and it won't happen again. Fast forward a few years and I just could never get over the fact that she would betray me the way she did. I wanted to get even and felt that it was the only way to move forward from it. I met a client who showed me some attention. We started texting and while my wife would go out with her friends and party, I would secretly leave my son with my mom and go see this woman. We had an affair and eventually fell in love with this other woman. After about 9 months, my affair partner tells me she's pregnant. First thing that came to my head was playing Usher's confession song and actually confessing to my wife, which I did. She took it pretty well as she told me she had an idea and that God was preparing her for that moment. I told her that I wanted a divorce and would like to start a new life with this other woman. She told me that we can work things out, to go to church more and get therapy from the pastor, and all should be great. How could I say no to that? I had to break the news to the pregnant AP who was under the impression that we were going to start a new life together, the bad news that we weren't. Fast forward a few months and I find out my wife is now pregnant. 3 months apart from AP. She wanted to feel more secured over the other woman, so she basically forced us to have another child together. It's December 2014 and I went from having 1 kid to 3 kids in a blink of an eye. It's been crazy, but I'm there for all my kids. Now let's jump over to present time. Wife and I have had our fair share of bumps on the road, but I truly am loving the way we are raising our beautiful children. I have come a long way and have been faithful and committed to rebuilding our relationship. I go out of town for work from time to time, as does she. Just found out that for the last 2 years, she's been having this affair with her boss. Every happy hour event after work, every time she spent doing overtime, every trip to San Diego or Valentine's Day in Portland, he was there keeping her warm in a hotel room. Here's how I found out. She went for drinks after work and I asked, what time do you plan on being home? She tells me 9 p.m. 9 p.m. comes around and she's nowhere in sight. I call her and nothing. I get a text with a picture of her girl co-worker and it's informing me that she's just grabbing a few more drinks before heading out. I found it so weird that she could text me but can't give me a call. I zoom into the picture into a napkin that was on the table and see where she's at. I drive 45 min from home to look for her and there she is at the bar with her boss with his arms around her. I walk up and they were both shocked to see me. She was quick to say, okay bye. I'm like, bye, but I just got here, did I interrupt something? She proceeds to tell me she's closed up her tab and she's leaving. I stay with her boss. The boss is drunk at this point and he's talking to me about his wife. He tells me that she doesn't pay any attention to him and how they do whatever they want. This is the first time I meet this guy and he's getting personal. He asks me if I've ever caught my wife cheating and I proceed to let him know that I haven't, but if I do, it wouldn't be a pretty sight. He orders another drink and I see my wife calling him on his phone multiple times. I found that very odd. In the middle of his drink he gets up and leaves to what I thought was the bathroom, but he actually leaves the bar. I take off home and have tons of questions for my wife. Her response was, I'm sorry, I should have told you he was with us as well. I've never been the jealous type and a friend told me to check my phone records. OMG. My heart dropped when I found out she's been talking to him Monday, Friday after work for 15 to 30 minutes at a time. I confronted her with all the phone bills extending to 2 years ago and she informed me that after work she has end of day reporting to do and he needs those numbers to report to his boss. It was such a good lie. Keep in mind she's not salary and clocks in and out, so in HR point of view, reporting numbers after clocking out would be considered illegal. I needed proof of their conversations, but how? I decided to record their conversations. I'm not going to mention how I did it, but once I heard what was said my heart broke into a million pieces. She had conversations with her own cousin talking about how much he brings excitement to her life, and it's not only the sex, but how funny and goofy he is. She talked about how dumb I was to believe the end-of-day calls were real. She said how they would have to lay low for a while, and where there's a will, there's a way, and then there's the conversation between the two of them, where they talked about how much they loved one another and how they make each other feel. Straight caught. I knew I was furious but didn't know what to do. Do I go to their HR? My wife just got a promotion, should I tell them it's because she's fucking her boss? I did the only thing I could think of. I contacted his wife. I did a ton of research with some help of course from a good buddy that loves drama, contacted his wife on LinkedIn and waited for her to call. She did, and I told her everything I knew. We put dates together and they've been having a blast for years now while we both were being played for fools. We did a four-way call, but they denied it all even after the recordings. They both finally came clean. Now I have to ask myself, do I stay for the kids or leave her because my debts from my wrongdoings have been paid? She's begging for me back, but I've moved out and pick up the kids to take them to school every morning. She still works under him and swears it won't happen again, but how can I trust that after 2 years of loving another man? She let him in her heart and pants. Is this my chance to leave her and start a fresh new life, or do I stick around to make sure my kids grow up with an undivided family? Is there hope for this toxic, unhealthy marriage? Should I get the district manager fired for his wrongdoings in all of this? What should I do next? I know 2 wrongs did not make a right. I'm here for advice if anyone has successfully kept their family together for the sake of their children. Actually, today I don't want to give my comments first on this story. Let's read what other users think about this story. Original King is asking. And why didn't he get fired? Didn't you guys let the company know? Op respond. It's a big company and I'm having a hard time finding where to start. I'm working on it, but if anyone has an idea of a starting point, I'm all in. Soft Latina says. Call their main phone number and ask to speak to the head of HR. If they ask what it's regarding, which is SOP when a random call is received, say you have knowledge of and documentation for illegal activity involving 2 employees. And don't go into any details until you get a high up in HR. If they try to shut you down at some point, just say fine, I'll take what I have to the press and social media if it's not important enough for you to deal with things internally. Be persistent. Interesting suggestion. What do you think, guys? Would you do that? Gutter Bro said. Here's the thing. First of all, you have a very toxic relationship with this woman. This is a bad situation to raise your kids up in. No matter what happens, the kids will feel this. They will absorb it and then they will think that this is how our relationship is supposed to be and will be doomed to have terrible relationships in their future. If you want to do the right thing even though you screwed up before, she screwed up before, so you had been on an even playing after each of you cheating. But now she's gone on and had another 2 years with this guy. What do you need to do? Get a lawyer, get her served at work, make sure you retain all your relationship information of her and him. Present that to the lawyer. You need to go Greyrock and 180 on her. She should move out while you stay with the kids. Don't know where you live, where they're at, so at fault state or not, but at least you can use her cheating information as to keeping the kids. Don't stay with her for the sake of your children. Do not do this. Do not raise them in a wicked environment. Op respond. Love your input. Sometimes you get so used to a person that you can't really picture yourself without them. She slept with him a day before my birthday. Day of my birthday we took the family to Disneyland. Found out the next day about all of this. It just sucks. Guys, it's unbelievable. I can't imagine living with a woman like this. Damn, damn, damn. Pecharuzu said. I agree with everyone that say move on and try to salvage the relationship you had with the other lady, cause your current wife is toxic. She's only waiting on you to look the other way to fool you again and brag to her friends about how dumb you are to trust her. But if you are what your wife thinks of you, stay and get used to her cheating, cause won't stop. After her boss leaves her to salve his marriage, she's going to find someone else. Tell me if I'm wrong. And I think he is totally right. I can't imagine how you can live with person that cheated and dumped you. Oh my god. Okay, guys. I have one more story for you today. Don't forget to drop a like for me, by the way. I will make a bigger video for you on the weekends, but for now, I have things to do with my daughter. So. Discovered that my wife betrayed me. Is it wrong of me to just want to start fresh? Married 2 years come next month and we have been together for 5 years. One daughter, 14 months old. I'm 28 per m and she is 27f. The marriage hasn't been great for probably the last year, stress with the baby, family, work, etc. In October, I took a position that had me working abroad. 10 weeks abroad, 2 weeks at home. Great pay, but stressful in long distance with a wife and baby. We needed the money so I took the position. At first the distance was bearable, we were Skyping close to daily and we were missing one another a lot. But eventually, work became stressful and she started to kind of distance herself from me. I didn't worry about it enough and let it happen. I came home in March for my 2 weeks and we were just not close. She wouldn't have sex with me, which was hurtful and we were fighting a lot. I thought something was up and ended up finding some messages between her and another guy. I confronted her and told her I understood because I did and that we both had to work harder on us. That I knew the distance was tough, but I was doing it for us and so that we could be better. She admitted that she had been too friendly, but swore nothing else happened. We made up and started to talk about our future more and about buying a house, and when I left again I felt good about things. Once I left, it didn't take long for us to fall back to the same fighting. It honestly felt like she was picking fights with me and she just wasn't being kind. That is the best way to describe it. She was just being a bitch. Again, I started to feel more suspicious because of the messages and I hacked into her accounts. I know I'm supposed to say I felt guilty, but I didn't. What became clear was that she was fucking another guy and was very, very serious about him. The sex was bothersome, but it didn't bother me that much. I understand how tough the distance can be. What bothered me was the emotional talk and then being such a bitch to me. I didn't confront and just watched her activity and I saw her becoming closer and closer with this guy. Emailing him several times a day, telling her she loved him and then finally some pictures with him, her and our baby. Which was probably the final straw. I asked one of my close friends to go by our house on his way to work and back to just see if anything was up and he told me he saw a truck in the driveway of the house we are renting multiple times. I'm due to come home at the end of this month and want to be smart and careful when I go back. I really feel like her actions are divorce worthy. It is a betrayal in every single sense and it makes my heart weak. I cannot believe someone would do this to me. Especially since our relationship has never gone through things like this. She is a normal kind person. What I think is unforgivable is parading this prick in front of our child. That shit hurts. While I'm working for our family, she is essentially replacing me while living off me. The only positive in all of this is that my work is going really, really well and the company I work for loves me. They have offered me a full-time position and would be willing to sponsor me for immigration purposes. At first, I wasn't too eager of leaving home, but seeing as home doesn't have much for me, this fresh start option is becoming very, very attractive. I really think it's probably the best move for me. Let my wife be with this guy and get a divorce. It's not a great situation for my daughter, but I just think I'd be marginalized moving forward anyways. I don't know. I do feel like our situation is beyond marriage counseling or anything like that. I confronted her and she lied to me and kept up her affair and even jumped in further. She has chose the other person in every sense over me and it fucking hurts. And we haven't even been married that long. While I calm down and stop being angry at his wife, let's read what people are saying. Told you so said. Dude, this sucks. I'm so sorry you had to go through this. Absolutely, positively, 100% yes, this is divorce worthy. If this isn't divorce worthy, then nothing is. This is ultimate betrayal. Question for you. How do you feel about the idea of financially supporting this other guy while he lives in the house you pay for and has sex with your wife and raises your daughter as his own? Does that sound like a good time? No. Then start talking to a lawyer because this is lawyer time. If you want to start fresh in a new country, I say go for it. But that will mean seeing a lot less of your child. Are you prepared for that? If I were you, the next time I opened up one of those emails between the two of them, I'd forward it to myself to have copies as proof of infidelity for divorce proceedings. It may or may not help, but why not try? Also, I'd let her know that you know what she's doing. And this is just me, others may disagree, but I'd also message the other guy and let him know in no uncertain terms that he's more than welcome to bang my wife if that's what she wants, but that if I ever see or even hear about him being around my child again, he's going to have a serious problem on his hands. Beaver replied. I agree with most of your post, minus letting the wife and the other guy know that he knows. He should just compile all of the evidence and continue doing so until he talks to a lawyer. He can maintain having the upper hand. Letting the other party become aware that he knows what's going on gives them the opportunity to get rid of evidence, cover their tracks. Their marriage is already over, might as well let his wife dig her grave a little deeper. He should also start funneling his money from the joint account into a personal account that she can't touch. He should also monitor the joint account to make sure that she isn't taking suspicious amounts out. What do you think about these comments, brothers? Let me read you some more comments. You literally can't hide money, and it is not in your best interest to do so. It's a process called discovery, and you have to submit a financial affidavit and pay stubs and bank statements. They can even subpoena it from your boss if they don't trust you. I don't know where people get this idea in the sub all the time that this is possible. Unless you get paid under the table, this is not going to happen. And if the judge finds out you did this, he will not be happy. He can even freeze all accounts. If either parties are found to be hiding money or to have spent money frivolously, it will have to be paid back and redivided. I would suggest calculating child support and paying the estimated amount every month. There are several online calculators. It will count towards your back child support when you have your final hearing. Open a new account and put your money in there from now on. But what's in the joint account is half hers, and there really isn't anything you can do about that, IMO. The best advice is to talk to a lawyer and find out what you should and should not do, and talk to a lawyer before revealing anything to your wife. Edited to say this is all considering if you live in America. If you move out of the country and don't pay, just don't intend on coming back. Warrants and whatnot. Okay guys, I think I'm done for today. Tell me your thoughts about these stories. And also let me know if you like listening people's comments about stories. Or you want to listen stories without comments. Thank you all, brothers. And as usual, drop a like and subscribe. See you. Cheers.